Hello and welcome to another update video about silver. So silver seems to have made a decision here. In the last video we discussed different options because silver was here at a key decision point. I think if I remember correctly, in the last video it had already dropped below the descending trend line again. So you know that I was quite skeptical in the last video if this move to the upside is still going to work, because we only had essentially 3 waves to the upside, which is always a warning sign. Then this potential wave 4 came down too much. So I told you in the last video, if we drop any lower, it will invalidate this pattern, which it did. So let's take it out. Clearly was the decision point. It was here at roughly $19. The breakout below that obviously led then to a bit of a waterfall here, because this was the invalidation point, right? Because with your wave 4, you can't go into the wave 1 range. Invalidated. Let's take it out. There's still a few options. There's even one more bullish option. Question is, you know, how likely is it? And I don't find it very likely anymore, but we'll talk about that. So what we need to understand is that silver, you know, from the beginning we talked here about this is not a clear 5-wave move. You can get away with it, but it's not high confidence. Okay, then we came down in wave 2, if you want to count it bullish, right? And then what next, right? It failed to create an impulse. The only way how silver can, after it hit my reversal area here, it only touched it anyway, so it didn't really get into it and to confirm any levels, but it touched it. Yeah, scenario fulfilled generally, but it only touched that reversal point. It moved up in, you know, what you could get away with counting as a wave 1, a possible impulse, not high confidence. Okay, we moved down in a pretty clear 3-wave move in what I would count a wave 2. Then what next? I mean, I could count it as a diagonal, but it's already getting a problem now. So I couldn't count this as wave 3, could count this as wave 4, but this is now getting really tough. I don't think this level is going to hold, to be honest. The next wave up would then be a wave 5. So this would need to be some kind of a weird expanded, let's call it an expanding diagonal, right? But even here, you're just now trying to break that trend line. And if you go below that trend line, I think that's it. Then you're basically already at the wave 2 low anyway. So if we drop below 1795, that's it anyway, right? And we seem to be going that way just now. We've just come down a bit too far, okay? I mean, we are now in support. But the question is this support going to hold or not? If it does hold, then this could really, the next wave up could push us to 2179 and above. Absolutely. And the key point here, the key level, is actually this one, the wave 3 high. Yeah, there's 2 key resistance levels here on the way up. We've got the 1998 level, the wave 1 high, and the 2122 level, the wave 3 high. This is what both would need to be broken to make it a valid 5-wave move to the upside. But this is really a bit like a forced count, to be honest. I don't, first of all, such a weird leading diagonal is extremely rare, especially if it's an expanding one. Don't have much confidence in it whatsoever. So, however, I can't dismiss it fully. Yeah, it's a valid one. Even though this move down comes across as very impulsive. So, again, this is the bullish option. Now you can decide how likely it is. I don't think it's very likely. This is a wave 1, here a wave 2, here a 3, here a 4, and it could push up in a wave 5. The wave 5 would be expected in this diagonal to be the longest wave. So it would need to be longer than the wave 3. So we can also give it a minimal target or minimum target. Minimum target would be basically, yeah, the wave 3 high. So the minimum target would be the 2137 level. It needs to get above. That is the 1-to-1 ratio of wave 3 and 5. The minimum. Ideally it goes higher, okay? So this is one option. The other option is that we count this as a 1-2 setup and then here another 1-2 setup. I find that even more adventurous, to be honest. This is strictly speaking valid as long as we're holding above this wave 2 high. Yeah, wave 2 low at, yeah, basically 1789. So, but this is a bit adventurous, you know, a 1-2 and another 1-2 setup, potentially a very bullish count. But here again, the problem with these 1-2 setups, if you drop below the 78.6% fib level, is very unlikely it's still going to work out. Here we did react to it first and then came down after all. So yeah, you can see how close we came to invalidation. Invalidation will occur here at that 17, let's call it $17.90 level, yeah? That is invalidation. And then I think if we drop below that, we're going to touch the target area again, and we'll probably get into it. So the level that the bulls definitely, and that's the last resort, the level that the bulls need to hold is the 1790 level, you know. So we've come deep into support. A possible long trade from here, but I'm not very confident it would work out. Well, it's a possible long trade, a low risk long trade, to be honest. Not in terms of it high probability in working out, but low risk really, because you've got your invalidation point here, and the stop loss can be set really, really tight. Yeah, just saying, with a potential reward up there. But the momentum is pushing down, so it's not high confidence in terms of it holding support. I think it's going to break, but that's only my assumption. My assumption doesn't necessarily mean how this can be traded. Yeah, it's just my perception. What I see in the market is that it's not very likely this is going to work out. Yeah, the momentum on the MACD is pushing down on the daily here. We had a bearish crossover on the daily RSI. On the 4-hour chart, we are hovering around the 30 level. The 4-hour MACD is pushing down. So negative momentum is increasing rather than reducing. But yeah, by all means, support level holds as long as it holds, and at the moment it seems to be holding. But primary expectation would actually be that this is not this is not going to hold, just because how strong we come down here, and you know, this is quite an adventurous pattern, to be honest. Now, what could very well be is that we have to extend this entire move down here, which I currently have labeled as a WXY pattern. We might have to extend this to a WXYX, and now we're coming down in a wave Z. Now, if we come down in a wave Z, let me just label that. Again, also actually a very rare pattern, but it might be needed in this, you know, corrective and complex and corrective market that we have at the moment, right? Because it is quite complex, to be fair. So if we have here WXYXZ pattern, then we are now in the Z wave down. The Z wave is a corrective wave, which means it consists of 3 waves: A, B, C. So even here actually, yeah, and that's why I mean, you know, yeah, a good chance we come down further, but it doesn't need to be immediately. It could very well be that we get a bounce here. So if there is currently no sign of a reversal, right? But if there is one, then this could be the wave B, which will eventually take us down in C. And a wave B normally retraces like, yeah, let's say at least to the 38.2% fib level. So what I'm going to give you now is a retracement area for this wave B scenario, should we see a sign of a reversal here. It's too early now that I record this video. I don't really see a green candle or anything. But if we do reverse, then there is, you need to pay attention to this area. Anywhere in here, I would say, between 1927 and 2054. This is the area where it's most likely for the wave B to reverse down. And then we could come in wave C and get this final sell-off here and get into the green target area again, which is actually located between $13.60 and $17.50. So that's where we are at the moment here with silver at another key decision point. Last video I made you aware of the last decision point. It's always good, you know, when you're at these inflection points, decision points, where you really, if you move 1 inch further, then you know it's invalidated. And we had that in the last video. I told you if that wave down comes further down, that wave 4 comes further down, we're probably going to go down quite a lot, because it was invalidation, which then also happened. Now here we're at the next decision point at a key support level. We have certainly a chance to move up here. At the moment there is no bullish signal yet, but it is very close to support, very close to invalidation again. And as a trader, these are eventually the points that we're looking for, right? Because they allow us to trade low risk, high reward setups. Now, in a bullish scenario, this is going to go up. In the bearish one, at some point I would expect a move to the upside anyway, and it could be really this wave B, which would then come down in a wave C. Okay, that's my update about silver. Hopefully you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then also check out my main channel, More Crypto Online. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye bye.